Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
On our anniversary trip, my stepson broke our hotel room door at 3 a.m., yelling, "I want your room now. I have someone coming over." My wife said, "Just do what he wants." So I handled it my way. Now he is regretting it. Sup Reddit. So my coworker showed me this site last year when I mentioned what happened in Cancun. Told me guys deal with this more than anyone wants to admit. Here's what happened when I stopped being the family ATM. At 3:07 a.m., I was on the 14th floor of a Cancun hotel when my stepson kicked my door until the frame splintered and the whole thing burst inward like something out of a cop show. Just me standing there in pajama shorts, head pounding from food poisoning, watching 28-year-old Kyle fill my doorway with his angry bulk and entitled rage. Then, my wife stepped through the wreckage. "Just switch rooms. People are going to hear this. Don't embarrass me in front of my son." I, 55 male, and my wife Nicole, 45 female, had been in Mexico less than 18 hours. Anniversary trip, 15 years. Nicole surprised me with Kyle's ticket 3 days before we left. I'd already booked everything, already paid for the ocean view suite. She said he needed this, that it would be nice to have family along. Nicole's coping skill is avoiding conflict. Kyle blows up. She expects me to bend. That's been the deal for years. At 3:07 a.m., Kyle kicked my door until the frame gave up. My brain started filing it under evidence. Damage, liability, forced entry. That red camera above the stairwell wasn't decorative. The hallway was dead quiet. Then Kyle filled it. "I want that room. Now." He jabbed his finger past me at the king bed, where Cancun glowed through half-open curtains. He wore tourist shop board shorts and a cheap black tank. Nicole stood behind him in her bathrobe with that look, the one where she's already decided what's easier for her. Kyle grinned. "See? She gets it. You always make things difficult, Vincent." He pointed at the bed. "That one. That's mine now. Got a girl coming over. Needs to see the view." Kyle was 28 and somehow still finding himself, which mainly meant finding new ways to spend other people's money. Unemployed for 6 months, but he called it between opportunities. "This is our anniversary room," I said. "Not anymore. Mom said you'd cover it." Like always. Nicole looked at me, eyes full of that familiar pressure. "Switch rooms. Don't embarrass me in front of my son." It wasn't about a bed. It was about the pattern I'd been ignoring. I stepped forward. Not aggressive, just deliberate. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to step back. Walk back to whatever room you're assigned to. And pray security doesn't ask me if I want to press charges." Kyle's face went red. "Or what? You gonna make me, old man?" I smiled. Not friendly. "Kyle, I outweigh you by 40 pounds and I've been in actual fights, not just yelling matches at bars. You really want to find out?" Nicole grabbed Kyle's arm. "Vincent, stop. You're being ridiculous. Last chance. Walk away." A door opened down the hall. A man's head appeared, saw the situation, disappeared fast. Another door opened. A woman in her 60s, gray hair and curlers. She looked at the broken door, then at Kyle. "What the heck is going on out here?" Kyle turned, chest puffed. "Family business, lady. Go back inside before you get hurt." The woman pulled out her phone. "I'm calling security." "Put the phone down," Kyle said, taking a step toward her. I moved, stepped between them. "Back up. Right now." Kyle's eyes widened. Because I wasn't yelling, wasn't backing down, just standing there, calm. The elevator dinged. 2 security guards stepped out. The older one, built like a retired linebacker, took in the broken door and stopped. "Who's the guest in 1402? "I am." His eyes moved to Kyle. "And you are." Kyle straightened up, tried to look casual, failed spectacularly. "I'm family. Just having a disagreement. This guy's overreacting like he always does." The guard looked at the splintered wood. "That door say it's no big deal?" "It was an accident." The second guard pulled out a tablet. "Sir, do you want to file a report?" Kyle's face went red. "Report? For what? I told you it was an accident." The guard ignored him. "We'll need to log this as property damage. There's a camera right there." He pointed to the red blinking light. "Footage gets pulled automatically. Given the threat to another guest, we'll determine if this goes to local authorities. He's not on my reservation. I didn't authorize him to enter my room or damage hotel property. He also threatened an elderly female guest." The second guard looked up. "Forced entry and verbal threats." Kyle exploded. "You're seriously doing this? Over a door? Mom, you hearing this?" Nicole stepped forward. "Officers, this is a family misunderstanding. We can pay for the door. The guard's expression didn't change. Ma'am, once property damage occurs and security is called, we document it. That's policy. Sir, do you feel safe remaining in this room tonight? I looked at the broken door, at Kyle, at Nicole. No. I'd like to relocate immediately. We'll arrange that. And sir, you'll need to come with us to provide a statement. I'm not going anywhere, Kyle said. Then we call the police. They'll transport you instead. Your choice. Kyle followed the guards down the hall. As they walked away, I heard him say, "He's making this a bigger deal than it is." The older guard's voice carried back flat. "The door's broken, sir, and we have a witness who says you threatened her. That's not an opinion." Nicole hovered near my doorway. "You're being dramatic. It's one night." I pulled out my suitcase, started folding clothes. "You're really going to make my son look like a criminal over an accident?" I stopped. "Nicole, he kicked down a door at 3 in the morning because he wanted to screw someone in my bed. Then he threatened a grandmother. I didn't make him do any of that. You could have just switched rooms. You called the hotel 3 days ago and added Kyle to the reservation without asking me. You set this up. Now you get to watch it fall apart." Her face went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yeah, you do." I zipped the suitcase and walked past her. Somewhere with a functioning door lock and better company. I walked to the elevator. As it arrived, Nicole was the last thing I saw. Standing in the hall in her robe, looking at me like I'd just committed treason. My phone buzzed. "Nicole, don't do anything stupid. We can fix this in the morning." Morning doesn't unkick doors. The lobby was almost empty. The night clerk looked up. "I need to split the folio, effective immediately, and I need you to flag something important." The clerk did the polite corporate smile. "We normally can't split charges mid-stay, sir. I'd like to speak with a manager. And I'd like you to pull the call log showing who added an unauthorized guest to my reservation." His smile faded. Within 2 minutes, a manager appeared. Sharp suit, name tag, Director of Guest Services. "Mr. Vincent, I understand there's been an incident and unauthorized account access?" "Yes. My wife called and added her son to my reservation using my confirmation number. She also requested a room upgrade I never approved. When I questioned it, her son forced entry and damaged the door." Her eyes sharpened. "We have documentation of a call from a Nicole 3 days ago. She stated you approved it verbally. That wasn't authorized. Document it and move all charges to her folio. Effective immediately." She typed on a tablet. "Given the circumstances, I'm escalating this to risk management. Using someone's confirmation number to make unauthorized changes is serious." Music to my ears. "Your new room is ready. Different floor, different building. No one else has access." And Mr. Vincent, "We get this maybe twice a month. Usually ends with deactivated key cards and a very awkward conversation with our chargeback team." The clerk slid papers across. I signed. "One more thing. When they come down in the morning asking about charges, don't cave. Make them provide their own payment method." The manager nodded. "Already planned, sir." I flew back early, changed my flight, ate the fee, got on a plane while they were still dealing with the mess they created. Landed in Dallas at dawn, went straight to the office. Nicole found out about the card at 9:47 a.m. I was already 3 hours into my workday with coffee and the incident report printed in front of me. I let the first call go to voicemail. On the second, I picked up. "Vincent, what did you do to the card?" "I removed authorization last night." Sharp inhale. "You what?" "I split the folio. You and Kyle are responsible for your own charges now. All of them. We can't pay for this. Do you understand? We don't have the money. Kyle spent everything he had on—" She stopped. "On what?" Silence. "Finish the sentence, Nicole. It doesn't matter. They're saying we owe for damages, for the upgrade, for the deposit. Vincent, they shut off our key cards. Security's hovering because Kyle keeps getting loud." Music to my ears. "Sounds like a problem." Her voice cracked. "Fix this. Right now." "No." I could hear Kyle's voice in the background, loud and angry. Something about calling corporate and suing for false imprisonment. "Vincent, please. They're not letting us check out. Our flights leave in 4 hours. Better figure it out then. You're really going to leave us stranded?" "You're not stranded. You have credit cards, bank accounts. Figure it out like adults." I hung up. A voicemail came through 20 minutes later. "Vincent, this is ridiculous. The hotel is saying Kyle tried to file a false complaint against you. They're escalating it to local police because he mentioned assault. Security won't clear him to leave the property. Don't make me look bad. I told them you work in compliance, that you'd handle this professionally." Too late, sweetheart. I deleted it. My desk phone rang around noon. Internal line. Vincent, it's Carol from accounting. Did you authorize a wire transfer from your personal account last week? 5,000 range? My hand stopped. No. Why? Your bank flagged it this morning. Compliance check. I pulled up my banking app. There it was. Wire transfer. $5,200. Recipient? Kyle. Date. 4 days before the Mexico trip. Reference note. Family loan. Repay monthly. Loan. Right. That afternoon I drove to the credit union. Froze the card. Changed all my passwords. Saved every email, exported bank statements, forwarded everything to my attorney. Then I drafted an email to the hotel's risk management requesting preservation of security footage and copies of all incident reports. My phone rang an hour later. Unknown number. This is Vincent. Vincent, this is the assistant manager at the hotel in Cancun. I'm calling to follow up. We've documented the damage and the threat. We also received a statement from security that requires clarification. Go on. Your stepson filed a complaint this morning claiming you physically assaulted him prior to the door incident. He's stating you shoved him and threatened to beat his ass in front of witnesses. However, our security footage doesn't support that. In fact, it shows the opposite. You remained calm while he became increasingly aggressive. We've contacted local police to document this since he's alleging assault. He actually tried it. The moron actually tried to frame me. I was never in physical contact with him. I was inside the room when he kicked the door in. When I stepped into the hallway, I maintained distance. The only time I moved toward him was when he threatened the elderly guest and I positioned myself between them. Non-contact. Feel free to check the footage. That matches what the footage shows. We needed to verify because he attempted to turn this into an assault complaint rather than property damage. He also claimed the elderly witness would corroborate. And did she? No. She provided a written statement saying your stepson threatened her and you intervened to protect her. Her exact words were, "The older gentleman was the only one who made me feel safe." Of course. Send me the report when it's finalized. I'd like a copy. Yes, sir. And Vincent, given the circumstances and the false statement, we'll be pursuing this differently than a standard guest incident. We take false accusations very seriously. Local police have been notified. Music to my ears. There's one more thing. Your wife contacted the front desk this morning asking us to charge everything to your card anyway. She said the split was a misunderstanding and that you'd authorized her to use the account. We declined based on your explicit instructions. My hand tightened. Thank you for telling me. That was absolutely not authorized. We figured. She became quite insistent. We had to have security escort her from the front desk. Even better. When the email arrived, I printed it. Kyle's false statement. The witness contradicting him. The footage timestamps. The property damage assessment. All of it. I slid it into a manila folder. On the tab, I wrote, Cancun. My phone rang. Nicole, what did you do? I documented the truth. They're saying Kyle has to pay for everything. The door. The security response. The upgrade. They're saying he tried to lie about you attacking him, and now they're threatening to involve the police. This is insane. That's not my problem. The words surprised me with how easy they came out. You're punishing him. You told them things that made him look bad. I told them what happened. Kyle made himself look bad when he kicked down a door, filed a false statement, and threatened a grandmother. That's all him, Nicole. I just didn't lie to protect him. She went quiet. I could hear her breathing, fast and shallow. She wasn't shocked Kyle had done it. She was shocked I hadn't covered for him. You always do this. You hide behind paperwork. I hide behind the truth, and you added him to my reservation without asking. You told the hotel to upgrade our anniversary room so he could use it. You tried to charge everything to my card this morning after I explicitly split the account. You set this up, sweetheart. Now you get to clean it up. I didn't know he'd break the door, but you knew he wanted the room. You arranged it. You just didn't think there'd be consequences. Silence. And the $5,000 you wired to him from my savings? Using my laptop while I was at work? Want to explain that? I could hear her breathing stop. That was a loan. I was going to tell you. You committed fraud, Nicole. You accessed my account without permission and transferred money to your son. That's not a loan. That's theft. It's not theft. We're married. It's community property. Not in Texas. And using someone's credentials without their knowledge is fraud, regardless of marital status. The bank's already flagged it. You reported it? I documented it. There's a difference. What happens next depends on what you do. What I do? She laughed, bitter. What about what you do? You're the one tearing this family apart over money. I'm the one protecting myself from people who think my bank account is a shared resource they can access whenever they want. Silence. She hung up. I sat there for a long time. I wasn't angry. I wasn't triumphant. I was clear. For the first time in years, I was clear. By the time Nicole and Kyle flew back from Mexico, I'd already found it. That church account withdrawal I'd noticed 2 weeks before the trip. $5,500. Withdrawn from the church youth mission fund. The one with my name on it as co-treasurer. 2 signatures required. Except someone had waived that requirement. Someone had told the church administrator that Vincent approved it. I called the church administrator. The youth fund withdrawal. Who approved it? Pause. You did. Nicole said you'd authorized it verbally. She had your travel details as reference. She'd used my travel information to forge authorization. Did I sign anything? No. She said you were traveling for work and it was time sensitive. Send me the documentation. Everything. When it arrived, I printed it, added it to the folder. This wasn't just about a door or a room or a wire transfer. This was a pattern. Systematic. Calculated. And my name was on every piece. Then I called my attorney. She flipped through my folder. Walk me through the timeline. I did. Hotel, door, church fund. The forged authorization. The wire transfer. She stopped on the bank statement. Tapped it. This is identity fraud. Systematic. A pattern of financial abuse. What do I do? File an affidavit with the church stating you didn't authorize the withdrawal. Request immediate removal from all financial accounts where she has signature authority. File a police report documenting the pattern. She slid a blank affidavit across. Fill this out. Today. Get it notarized. Submit it to the church board before their next meeting. I picked up the pen. Once you file this, there's no walking it back. This will destroy your marriage. Likely result in criminal charges against your wife. Are you ready? I thought about the door. The lies. The money taken in my name. I'm ready. I signed the affidavit that afternoon. Got it notarized. Hand-delivered it to the church office by 4 p.m. The secretary, an older woman who'd known Nicole for years, read the first line and looked up. Vincent, are you sure about this? Completely. She set it down like it might bite her. This is going to cause problems. Nicole's been very active in the church. They should respect the truth more. My phone rang that evening. Nicole. I let it go to voicemail. The message was different. No anger, just a quiet, shaky voice. Vincent, the church called me. They're saying you filed some kind of report. They want to meet with both of us. Please tell me this is a misunderstanding. I didn't respond. The next morning, I filed the police report. Sat in a gray room with a detective who'd seen this before. Identity fraud. Multiple instances. Church account. Wire transfer. Hotel charges. All using my name without authorization. He took notes, asked questions, took copies. You know this will likely result in charges against your wife. I'm okay with the truth. What happens after that is up to the system. I walked out into Dallas sunshine. My phone buzzed. Nicole, why are you doing this to me? Still framing herself as the victim. I replied, I'm not doing anything to you. I'm documenting what you did to me. She didn't respond. The mediation happened on Thursday. Nicole's last-ditch attempt to keep this out of court. I arrived 10 minutes early. Set my folder down. Notebook to the right. Parker pen on top. Nicole came in first. Dressed like a job interview. Navy blazer, low heels, hair pulled back tight. Kyle followed. Shoulders hunched. Wrinkled button-down, scuffed sneakers. Nicole's attorney came in last. Mid-40s, cheap suit, thin folder. The mediator introduced herself. Explained ground rules. Then she opened the folder. Incident report on top. Hotel statement underneath. Bank records from the church account at the bottom. Let's start with the hotel incident. Kyle shifted. Look, I didn't mean for the door to... You kicked it in! At 3:07 a.m. Security footage confirms it. Then you threatened an elderly guest. Then filed a false complaint claiming I assaulted you. The mediator flipped to the next page. And the church fund withdrawal. $5,500. Authorization shows Mr. Vincent's initials, but no signature. Mrs. Vincent, you made this withdrawal? Nicole's hands tightened. I needed it for the trip. I was going to pay it back. Using my identity, without my knowledge. That's fraud. Did you inform Mr. Vincent before making the withdrawal? No, Nicole whispered. And the wire transfer from his personal savings? Nicole's attorney interjected. That was a family loan. She used my credentials without authorization. That's theft. The mediator set down her pen. Based on the documentation, responsibility for the hotel damages rests with Kyle. The church fund matter constitutes identity fraud. The wire transfer is potentially criminal. Mr. Vincent is not obligated to cover any of these expenses. Kyle let out a strangled sound. Nicole's attorney shuffled papers. My client is willing to enter into a restitution agreement. No agreement. I want this documented. I want the pattern established. You're being vindictive. I'm being accurate. Your client committed fraud multiple times in my name. I'm not sweeping that under the rug so she can do it again, Nicole whispered. Vincent. I stood up, collected my papers. This is where my involvement ends. Financially, legally, emotionally, completely. Kyle's voice cracked. You think ruining my mom's life makes you some kind of hero? I stopped with my hand on the handle. I think it makes me free. And I think you should ask yourself why your mom needed to steal from church and commit fraud to fund your lifestyle. Maybe that's the real question here. His face went white. I opened the door and stepped out. The church board meeting happened Thursday evening. The pastor opened with a prayer, then looked at me. Vincent, we need to understand what happened. I laid out the bank statements, the unauthorized withdrawal, the timeline, the forged authorization. One of the deacons cleared his throat. Vincent, we appreciate your thoroughness. But is this really necessary? Nicole's already offered to repay the money. Can't we handle this quietly? My name is on that account. My professional reputation is attached to unauthorized fund transfers. If this isn't documented properly, I'm liable. But she's family. Surely we can show some grace? Grace doesn't mean ignoring fraud. She used my name without permission to withdraw church funds. That's criminal behavior. And if we let it slide, we're telling everyone that stealing is okay, as long as you apologize afterward. Another deacon jumped in. Vincent, think about the optics. The optics? You're worried about optics when someone committed fraud using a church account? What about the optics of covering it up? A woman I didn't know well spoke up. I agree with Vincent. If this was anyone else, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We'd have already filed a police report. Why is Nicole different? The deacon shifted uncomfortably. Because she's been active in the church for years. And that gives her permission to commit fraud? Either we have standards or we don't. The pastor finally spoke. We'll vote on how to proceed. Vincent has requested formal documentation and removal from all church financial responsibilities. Nicole will repay the full amount. But given the violation, I'm recommending we file a police report. This is beyond our ability to handle internally. The vote was 8-2 in favor of filing. When it was over, Nicole walked out without looking at me. Kyle had waited in the parking lot. Through the window, I watched them argue next to her car. Saw him throw his hands up. Saw her grab his arm. Saw him shake her off and storm away. The pastor walked me out. Vincent, I know this wasn't easy. It was easier than you'd think. For what it's worth, you did the right thing. I protected myself. The church just benefited. When Nicole and I finally sat down to talk, it wasn't dramatic. Just two people realizing the same truth from different ends of the table. We met at a coffee shop. Neutral ground. She looked tired. I want a divorce, I said. She blinked. What? A divorce? I'm filing this week. You can't be serious. Her voice rose. Vincent, we can work through this. It's just money. It's not about the money. It's about you thinking my accounts are yours to raid whenever Kyle needs bailing out. It's about you forging my authorization. It's about 15 years of me bending so you didn't have to deal with your son's tantrums. She leaned forward. So you're just going to throw away our marriage? Over a mistake? Multiple mistakes, systematic fraud, identity theft. Years of prioritizing Kyle over our relationship. That's not a mistake, Nicole. That's a pattern. Her eyes went hard. You knew what you were getting into when you married me. Kyle's my son. He comes first. That's how it works. Yeah, I figured that out. About 14 years too late. She sat back, crossed her arms. Fine. You want a divorce? You'll regret it. You think you're going to find someone better at your age? Good luck. I almost laughed. I'm not looking for someone better. I'm looking for peace and quiet. And a bank account that doesn't get drained by a grown man who can't hold a job. You're pathetic, petty, and vindictive. This is all about control. No, this is about boundaries. Something you never learned. She stared at me. Then her face shifted. The hardness cracked. Her eyes filled with tears. Vincent, please. Her voice went soft, vulnerable. Don't do this. I messed up. I know I did. But we can fix this. I'll make Kyle pay you back. I'll get a job. Whatever you want. I'd seen this before. The switch from anger to pleading. It used to work. It's too late. It's not too late. She reached across the table, grabbed my hand. We've been together 15 years. Doesn't that mean anything? I pulled my hand back. It meant something when you weren't stealing from me. The tears came harder. Real or performed, I didn't care anymore. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was desperate. Kyle was in trouble and I didn't know what else to do. I thought you'd understand. I would have understood if you'd asked. Instead, you took, without permission, multiple times. That's not desperation, Nicole. That's entitlement. She wiped her eyes. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. Please, just give me another chance. I'll change. I promise. You won't, because you don't think you did anything wrong. You think you got caught. There's a difference. She stared at me. Then the tears stopped. Like someone flipped a switch. Her face went cold. You'll regret this. When you're alone in that empty house, you'll regret it. I stood up. I'll take my chances. I walked out. Didn't look back. My attorney filed the divorce papers on Monday. Clean separation. No fighting over assets. I wanted out more than I wanted revenge. But Kyle was different. I sat in my attorney's office 2 weeks after filing. The hotel incident and the false assault claim, she said. We have grounds for a civil suit. Defamation per se. He accused you of assault knowing it was false. Conversion for the money he took. Civil conspiracy. Your wife facilitated it, the bank records prove it. What's the likelihood we win? High. The security footage contradicts his statement. The witness testimony supports your version. The hotel's incident report documents everything. He made a false accusation of a crime. That's textbook defamation per se. The money transfer from your account to his? That's conversion. Your wife accessed your credentials without authorization and sent him money. That's conspiracy to commit fraud. I thought about Kyle's smug face when he'd kicked that door. Thought about him trying to frame me for assault. Do it. The lawsuit hit Kyle like a freight train. We filed in district court. 3 causes of action: defamation per se for the false assault claim, conversion for the unauthorized wire transfer, and civil conspiracy with Nicole for the coordinated fraud. When he called me, I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Vincent, what the actual hell, man? You're suing me? Over what, some stupid hotel thing? This is insane. You need to drop this. I can't afford a lawyer. You know I can't. I saved the voicemail. Sent it to my attorney. Kyle tried to represent himself. The judge took one look at him and suggested he retain counsel. Your Honor, I don't have money for a lawyer. This whole thing is frivolous anyway. Mr. Walker, the plaintiff has filed a civil complaint with documented evidence. This is not frivolous. I strongly advise you to seek legal representation. Kyle walked out looking like someone had kicked him in the stomach. He tried to get Nicole to pay for a lawyer. She refused. According to my attorney, Nicole had told Kyle she had her own legal problems and couldn't afford to bankroll his defense. So Kyle borrowed money. From who? I don't know. But he showed up to the next hearing with a lawyer. Young guy. Fresh out of law school. My attorney ate him alive during discovery. We subpoenaed the hotel security footage, the bank records, Nicole's phone records showing she'd coordinated the wire transfer, Kyle's own text messages to friends bragging about getting a free room upgrade and putting the old man in his place. The deposition was beautiful. Kyle sat across from my attorney in a cramped conference room. Mr. Walker, did you kick in the door to room 1402 at the Cancun resort on the night of the incident? Kyle shifted. It was an accident. I pushed it and it just... Did you kick the door, yes or no? Yes, but... And after security arrived, did you file a statement claiming Mr. Vincent had assaulted you? Kyle's lawyer jumped in. Don't answer that. My attorney smiled. We have the security report. I'm simply asking if he made the statement. Kyle looked at his lawyer. His lawyer nodded reluctantly. Yeah, I said he pushed me. Did he push you? Silence. Mr. Walker, you're under oath. No, Kyle whispered. So you lied to hotel security about being assaulted? I was upset. Yes or no? Yes? My attorney flipped a page. And the wire transfer from Mr. Vincent's account to your account 4 days before the trip. Did you request that transfer? My mom sent it. Did you know the money was coming from Mr. Vincent's personal savings account without his authorization? Kyle hesitated. I thought he knew. Did you ask him if he authorized it? No. Did you ever pay him back? I was going to... Have you paid him back any portion of the $5,200? No. No further questions. Kyle walked out looking like he'd aged 5 years. Trial date, September. Kyle tried everything to avoid it. Motion to dismiss. Denied. Motion claiming abuse of legal process. Denied. Motion arguing defamation was barred by technicality. Denied. Every single motion got shot down. 2 weeks before trial, Kyle tried to settle. $2,000 and a written apology. I dropped the suit. I laughed. Counteroffer. Full wire transfer amount. $5,200. Written apology read in open court. Admission of the false assault claim in a sworn affidavit. Plus my legal fees. Kyle's attorney rejected it. Then we go to trial. Trial lasted 2 days. My attorney walked the jury through the timeline. Security footage of Kyle kicking the door. Audio of him threatening the elderly witness. Hotel incident report documenting his false assault claim. Then the bank records. The wire transfer. Nicole's text to Kyle. Sent you the money. Don't tell V. The jury's faces shifted. This wasn't family squabble. This was systematic theft and defamation. Kyle's attorney tried to paint me as vindictive. Bitter ex-husband using the legal system to punish his stepson for family drama. My attorney destroyed it in closing. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't about family drama. This is about a grown man who kicked in a door, filed a false police report, and stole over $5,000. Those are facts, not feelings. The defendant committed defamation per se when he knowingly filed a false assault claim. He committed conversion when he accepted money taken from the plaintiff's account without authorization. And he conspired with his mother to commit fraud. The evidence is clear. All that's left is for you to hold him accountable. Jury deliberated 3 hours. The forewoman read the verdict. On the count of defamation per se, we find in favor of the plaintiff. Damages awarded $35,000. Kyle's face went white. On the count of conversion, we find in favor of the plaintiff. Damages awarded $5,200 plus interest. On the count of civil conspiracy, we find in favor of the plaintiff. Damages awarded $20,000. Kyle made a sound, almost like a whimper. Total judgment, $62,200 plus plaintiff's attorney fees and court costs. The gavel came down. I stood up, collected my papers, walked out. In the hallway, Kyle caught up to me. Vincent, please. His voice cracked, eyes red. I don't have $60,000. You know I don't. This will destroy me. I stopped. You should have thought about that before you kicked down my door and tried to frame me for assault. I messed up, I know. But this? Can't we work something out? Monthly payments? Whatever you want. You had that chance. Before trial. You rejected it. Tears ran down his face. Kyle was crying in a courthouse hallway, like a kid who just realized Santa wasn't real. Please, he sobbed. I'm begging you. I'll lose everything. You don't have anything to lose. You're unemployed. You live in a shithole apartment your mom pays for. You've never had anything except other people's money. Vincent, we're done here. I walked toward the elevator. Behind me, Kyle collapsed onto a bench. Big, gasping sobs echoed in the marble hallway. The doors opened. I stepped inside. As they closed, I caught one last glimpse of Kyle on that bench, face in his hands, shoulders shaking. I felt nothing. The judgment wrecked Kyle exactly how I knew it would. Within 30 days, my attorney filed for enforcement, garnished his bank account, $300, filed a lien against any future assets, set up automatic wage garnishment. Kyle tried to file for bankruptcy. My attorney blocked it. Defamation judgments can't be discharged when they stem from willful and malicious conduct. He was stuck with it. For years. Possibly decades. Nicole called 6 months later. What do you want? Kyle's living in his car? Her voice was flat. Defeated. He lost his apartment. Can't get a job because of the judgment. Every paycheck gets garnished. He's broke, Vincent. Completely broke. And? You did this to him. You destroyed his life over money. No. He destroyed his own life when he committed fraud and defamation. I just made sure there were consequences. He's my son. And that's your problem. Not mine. Not anymore. I'm begging you, please. Drop the judgment. Let him move on. Like you dropped the charges when you stole from the church fund? Oh wait, you didn't. You pled guilty. Took your consequences. Kyle can do the same. This is different. It's exactly the same. You both thought you could take from me without consequences. You were wrong. Now you're both paying for it. Long silence. Then, I hope you're happy. I am. Finally. I hung up. The criminal charges took longer. Nicole pled guilty to identity fraud and theft. Got probation, restitution, community service. No jail time. First offense, showed remorse. Kyle got hit with the hotel charges. Filing a false complaint. Destruction of property. Threat charges dropped in a plea deal. He got probation too. The church recovered their money. Nicole sold some things. Made payments. Took 3 years, but they got it all back. 6 months after the divorce finalized, I sat down with my retirement planner. You know, he said, with these changes you could step back earlier than we planned. How much earlier? He smiled. Maybe 5 years. Your expenses dropped by almost 60%. No more supporting other people's disasters. 5 years earned with one simple decision to stop paying for chaos I didn't create. On a quiet Sunday morning, I sat in my living room with a cup of black coffee. The good kind I'd always told myself was too expensive. Turns out I could afford it just fine. I looked at my front door. Solid. Undamaged. Locked the way a door's supposed to be. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is Kyle. Mom wanted me to reach out. She's having some financial problems and was wondering if you could help. I stared at that message for a full minute. Then I blocked the number. Set my phone down. Picked up my coffee. Best decision I ever made was leaving that hotel room. Second best was never looking back. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.